Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest YouTube video. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I set up my mini journal zine for February, and I'm also going to share a flip through of my completed pages from my January zine. Thank you ever so much for all of your lovely comments on that video, and I've absolutely loved seeing everybody's recreations of these journal zines. So if you do join in, please tag me in your photos over on Instagram. I'm Journal with Purpose there, so I can see what you're getting up to and share them with my followers. I'm just so excited to create one of these for every month of the year, and I think it's going to be such a wonderful collection by the time we get to December. So I'm just going to quickly share with you how I'm using my pages and what kind of things I'm documenting. And while I'm here, I also want to say a huge thank you because, as you probably know, a few videos back I shared about how I get quite nervous about coming on camera, but I'd set myself the challenge to try and do more of it this year. And your comments and feedback have just been so encouraging. So I'm still getting a bit nervous, but you're helping me loads and it's encouraging me to keep coming back on camera in the hope that I get better at it and feel more confident. So thank you ever so much. I really hope you enjoy the video. I'm going to start off by sharing a little flip through of my completed journal zine from January, and some of these pages I completed on camera in the last video. So I've got a summary about me and my life at the moment. I've written down about some of my favourite things, and I also wrote down some of my hobbies. And these pages I completed off camera. So I did a page for what I'm reading at the moment, and last month I was reading The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which I absolutely loved, so I'm really happy to have that record in my zine. Then behind that I did a page on what I was watching, and we watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, and if you haven't seen it yet, I can highly recommend it. It was absolutely amazing. And then I did a month in summary at the back. I had a few questions from people as to whether you could use the pages underneath. You definitely could if you wanted to open it all out and create on those other pages. That's absolutely fine, just do whatever you'd like to do. I'm keeping mine like this just so it looks like a little journal when I flip through it. I've got my second zine, so my one for February, already here and cut. So if you haven't seen how to make this, I'll leave the video where I created this linked down below. And I'm going to use a few different things. So I've got some of my printables that I released on Patreon for February. So I'm thinking I might go with this vintage collage, and then possibly use some of these stickers and pads later on in the journal. And I've also printed off a photo for the book that I'm now reading, so I'm going to get that documented in my zine as well. So I really hope that you enjoy the rest of the video, and do share your journal zines with me over on Instagram, Journal with Purpose. I've loved seeing the ones that have been created so far. There's been so many of them and all so varied. So definitely please do share them with me, and I hope you have lots of fun with it. The first thing that I'm going to do is decorate the cover of my journal zine, and I decided to definitely go ahead with this collage paper that I released as a printable over on Patreon. And I'm just moving the zine around to try and work out which bits of the paper I want to be included on the cover. And to stick it down, I'm using some Pritt stick. I found that on my last zine, this glue's held up really well, fortunately, and as I'm not going to be using them loads and loads, I think it's going to be perfectly strong enough. Once I've got the paper exactly where I want it, I'm pressing it down really firmly to make sure that it stays in place. And then I'm going to use some scissors just to trim off the excess edges. As I mentioned earlier, it was so wonderful to see so many people tagging me in on Instagram with their zines. They'd been decorated in so many different ways and lots of people using them for such a wide variety of uses. It was absolutely wonderful. So definitely do please tag me in. I was also asked whether there's a hashtag for sharing them on. I need to have a check, but if I can use Helen's Zine, I'll check nobody else is using it, then I'll leave that in the video description down below. I'm now pressing down that paper to make sure that the folds are really crisp. And the same as last time, I'm going to use one of these Tim Holtz mini quote stickers. And the one that I've picked for February is Choose to See the Good Stuff. I'm really happy with how that cover's looking, especially with that pressed flower image on the front. I think it's really pretty, and hopefully here in the UK in February, we're going to start to see some flowers emerging. The next thing that I'm going to do is pop February 20 along the bottom of the cover, and for this I'm using a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen with a firm nib. I'm now going to move on to creating my first page in my journal zine. And I'm going to use this clipboard sticker from my printables. So I've printed this out onto sticker paper, so I'm going to then put that right on the bottom of the page. And I decided to use this first page in my zine to document something that was on my mind at that time. Earlier in the day, I'd been watching a video by somebody called Carrie Green, and it was all about focusing on how you want to feel. So rather than the things that you want to achieve, focusing on those feelings that you want to be there every day. And that really struck a chord with me, because it just felt better somehow than waiting for things. That how you want to feel, you're more in control of how you manage that every day. So as it was on my mind, I thought it'd be great to document that on the first page of the zine. So I'm now using my brush pen to letter out, focus on how you want to feel. I think it will be really nice at the end of the year to have this collection of zines, which are really just going to be snippets of each month and things that felt important to me at the time. And I think it'll be a really lovely reminder to then go back through those, see the things that I was either making, watching, reading, eating, but also little snippets of things like podcasts or videos that I've been watching. And the words that came up for me when I thought about how I wanted to feel were calm, joyous, and abundant. And I'm really going to try and focus on those words throughout the month and trying to find lots of ways to really bring those feelings into my daily life. There's always lots going on, but I think that I can look for those moments of calm and joy and be grateful for all of the things that I already have in my life. I'm now going to use some leaf stickers, and I've put these in my sticker book that you might have seen me show on my last video, which was my unboxing from London Gifties. I'm absolutely loving having all my stickers in here. It's just so handy. I have got quite a lot more sheets that I need to put in, but it's working really well and making it nice and easy for me to find the stickers I want to use. For my next page, I'm going to document the book that I'm currently reading, and this is called No One Home by Tim Weaver. I've only just started it, but it really fascinated me. The kind of premise of the story is that there's a village in England and all of the residents go missing at the same time. And it follows a private detective who's been brought in to try and investigate where they've all gone, and I love things like that. I'm using an old ticket which I'm going to glue down, and then I'm going to stick my photo on top. And I printed out this photo using a Brother colour label printer. I've been asked lots of questions about the printer that I use, and I did a review for Brother probably well over a year ago now, but that's here on my YouTube channel. So if you do want to have a look at that, I'll try and remember to leave that linked down below too. For the journal writing, I'm using a black Muji gel pen. And I'm writing about the fact that both my daughter and me read the same book by this author, and we enjoyed it so much that I've ordered a few more of these books so that while she's still home from uni, we can read through those and swap them with each other. And I'm really enjoying that because as we're then swapping onto each other's books, being able to talk about the storylines, it's just been a really nice thing to do. If you've got any good book recommendations or films or TV series, please do leave them down below. I'd love to have a look at them, and also it might be really helpful for anybody else that's looking for new recommendations at the moment as well. For the final page that I'm going to be creating in this zine today, I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different. I was feeling like getting my paints out and adding some doodles. So I'm going to mix up 3 different colours of paint, and my watercolour paints are from London Gifties. And the brush I use is an Escoda travel brush. I'm going to mix up 3 different shades of brown, and then I'm going to use this to add some rectangles to my page. I wasn't sure how the paper would hold up. I mentioned in the last video I'm using 120 GSM colour laser paper. So it's just normal printer paper but slightly thicker than the things I'd use for everyday printing. So I'm not going to add loads and loads of watercolour and try and do big washes, but actually I was really pleased with how well that paper held up. And with it all being folded over double as well, I definitely think that helped to give it a bit of extra strength. I'm going to paint 9 different rectangles on my page. So I loosely paint the outline first, and then I add the rest of the paint inside that. And that helps me to get a roughly even shape, but I'm not too worried about it. And I want those colours to be different on each line. So this palest brown, I'm going to do on the top row on the left, on the middle row in the middle, and then on the bottom row on the right. And then I'll do exactly the same pattern with the other 2 paints. I just think that looks really nice then as a completed page. And I definitely got the idea for doing doodles inside rectangles from Creation CC's YouTube channel. I know she's got tons of followers, but if you don't follow her and you're into things like watercolours and sketches, and she does a great range of tutorials starting right from beginner. So I'll leave her channel linked down below and definitely take a look. Her work's absolutely beautiful. Once I'd finished painting my rectangles, I used a heat tool to make sure they were properly dry before moving on to the next stage. For the doodles, I'm going to mainly use the flowers that are inside my book, Journal with Purpose, and I'm going to use those, pick some reasonably easy ones to add inside those rectangles. I thought it would be really nice to have a kind of nature themed page in my journal zine. For the black ink, I'm using again my black Muji gel pen, but any black pen would be absolutely fine for this. And the first one that I'm adding is just some simple kind of fern branches. I think because we can't get out and about that much at the moment, nature's definitely on my mind. We're allowed to exercise once a day from home, but there's so many places that I just can't wait to be able to drive to again and really make the most of being outside, which I'm hoping might be a little bit more possible again as the weather turns a bit warmer. So I'm definitely, I think, using that to inspire my pages at the moment. On each of the darker brown rectangles, I decided that I would use a white gel pen, so I thought it would show up quite nicely on that darker brown. And for this, I'm using a Uni Signable white gel pen. I really enjoyed creating this mini doodle and watercolour page in my zine, so I think it might be a feature in most months. I'm thinking I might pick a different theme depending on what's on my mind, so I might do a food one or an art supplies one or something like that. And because it's such a small size to work in, I find it really inviting because I know that I can complete a page in a really short period of time, but it's a lovely space to get creative without any pressure and also document some of those things that are happening in life at the moment. Everybody seemed to get on really well with the zine last month, but if you do prefer photos and reading through something, I also released a step-by-step blog post over on journalwithpurpose.co.uk. So if you want to have a look at that instead, if you think you'd find that easier, I'll leave a link to that in the description box down below. I really hope that you're doing okay, that you're taking good care of yourself, and you're finding plenty of things to keep you amused and occupied at the moment. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, it'd be great if you leave it with a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you consider subscribing. If you've got any questions or comments, as always, please do leave them down below. I absolutely love chatting with you. As always, I also want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's supporting me over on Patreon. I really appreciate it. And thank you ever so much for watching my video. I look forward to speaking with you really soon in the next one.